Shefali. With us on the broadcast, Shefali Vaidya, author, and with us for a one-on-one segment. Ma'am, you were amongst the first voices to flag this document on social media, and then the furor followed. We've all been watching it. What exactly in this document triggered your concern the most? Even though the company has now come out with its statement, Piyush Bansal has apologized that this is an outdated document. You've argued that this issue is a little bit more deeper. Is your concern about this one policy alone? Is it about the Hindu majority and this company in a Hindu nation, or a larger pattern that you believe exists in corporate India? Many thanks for taking out the time to speak to us.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to present my views on this. When I actually read this document, I couldn't believe my eyes. I double checked it. I checked it from the source. I consulted 2 or 3 AI platforms to see if it's been doctored or whatever, or is it genuine. And then I got the link where the document was actually genuine. And I was shocked because it basically deifies discrimination against one particular religion and one particular religion only. The document very clearly says that hijab is okay, that a Sikh turban is okay, but Hindus are not allowed to wear a bindi, a tilak, sindoor should be unobtrusive, and they should not wear a kalava. This is not about uniform grooming policy at all. You talked about uniform grooming policy, right? If it's a uniform grooming policy, then religious symbols of all religions should have been avoided. That I can understand. But you cannot say that hijab is okay. You cannot say that a Sikh turban is okay. But you cannot penalize Hindus for wearing bindi, sindoor, and kalava, which are not just cultural symbols, they are religious symbols as important to Hindus as probably hijab is to a Muslim. Now, let me give you another case, something like this that has happened before. In Karnataka, a couple of years ago, when there was this huge controversy, there was an educational institute, and that educational institute also had given uniform guidelines, and they had said that you cannot wear hijab as a part of your school uniform. That time, it had become a huge controversy. There were mainstream media debates. Everybody was talking about how hijab is somebody's cultural right and how they should be allowed to wear it, how there should not be any cultural discrimination. So my question to you is, why are these double standards applied? So in Karnataka, when a college says that you cannot wear a hijab, they said that you cannot wear any other religious identity also. At least they were uniform about this. But here there is a corporate company which clearly is saying that they have a discriminatory policy. They are allowing religious symbols of 2 religions, but they are basically saying that Hindus should not wear bindis, Hindus should not wear tilak, Hindus should not wear a kalava. It is blatant discrimination, and first of all, it is against the Article 15 of the Indian Constitution, which says that no workplace shall discriminate against any of the employees based on their religion, based on their caste, based on their language, based on any of these things. So how can Lenskart do this? And they can say that this is their cultural
Well,
policy.
Piyush Bansal has come out. He's clarified on that point, Mr. Vaidya. He says the company has now clarified and there are no restrictions on respectful religious expression. And, you pointed out the Karnataka incidents. Of course, there were a lot of protests that we saw in Karnataka over the entire hijab ban at that particular educational institute. I'm just trying to understand, these kind of furors, there's a massive risk of such issues quickly becoming polarized. Before you answer this, ma'am, let me quickly introduce our other panelists as well. Dr. Kiranpreet Kaur, human resources expert and advisor, the human capital, is also with us. Dr. Nisha Nujumuddin, women's rights and public policy analyst, also with us on the broadcast. Back to you, Ms. Vaidya. Please continue.
So that quote-unquote apology was hardly an apology. First of all, Mr. Bansal said this is an inaccurate document. So I said, please prove the inaccuracy. He then said, change the tactic and said, no, this is an old document and it doesn't reflect our policy now. So where is the current document? Why has he not shared it, first of all? So there is no policy document that claims to be currently in use at Lenskart. It's not available anywhere. Now, this was in February 2026, okay? This was not a 15-year-old document. This was not a 20-year-old document. This is a document in February 2026. We are in April 2026. And if you're saying this is an old document and our policy does not reflect this anymore, then where is your new policy document? Secondly, even if it was an old document, why was this blatant discrimination allowed even for a day? Even if it is your internal memo.
Fair enough.
How was this allowed to be drafted? Who drafted it? Who was responsible for it? How was this allowed? How was this passed by HR? I can understand you saying that no religious symbols at all in our shops. That
Yeah.
I can understand.
Either
That
you
can
allow
debate.
everything or you
But
regulate
cannot
everything.
Say,
Yeah, you can't have a middle
cannot
ground.
say you cannot say that religious symbols of only one religion are not okay, and that is a part of your grooming policy. No, that's not policy. That is blatant religious asymmetry. That is blatant religious discrimination against Hindus and their right to showcase their own cultural symbols. And this is the reason why I had started the campaign No Bindi, No Business. This was for a different purpose. That was for advertising that was specifically targeted for Hindu religious festivals. But what Lenskart is doing, it's really ridiculous. Secondly, I do not understand how a Hindu run company in a Hindu majority country, where most of the employees are Hindu, most of the customers are definitely Hindu, can have such a blatantly discriminatory policy against the majority religion. This makes no sense. Thirdly, you are a company, you are selling chashmas, then sell chashmas, no? Don't get into religious symbols and don't tell people what religious symbols they should display in their shops or not.
Customer interaction guidelines are quite normal
Sell
everywhere.
good
Customer
lenses.
interaction guidelines are quite normal everywhere, ma'am. You'd see them,
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
right from
They're not
Domino's to Pizza Hut.
Excuse me.
You know,
No. These are not. I just proved to you that these are not customer interaction guidelines. I just proved to you that this is against the Constitution. Article 15 of the
no,
Indian
I do
Constitution
concede. I do
says
concede, and
that
I do
you
understand.
cannot
Either you
discriminate
adopt a
against any
policy,
religion.
either you adopt a
I
policy
proved to
that
you
allows
that it is
everything.
religious asymmetry.
You,
So how can
I
you
agree,
say
I
this is a
agree,
part
I
of a
agree on the
grooming
asymmetry
policy?
front. You either allow everything or you regulate everything, clearly.
Or yeah,
It's
so
as
then
clear
how
cut as
can-
that.
then
You're
how
absolutely
can you
right
say
in pointing
this
that.
is, this is the company's right.
But
We're
then,
we're not talking
my,
about
my,
the
my
company's
larger
right to
understanding
have-
and my larger question was, Mr. Vaidya, was about
Yeah.
how these kind of issues, because you cited the Karnataka issue, which is why I'm again
Yeah.
bringing it up. I was trying to understand how there's a massive risk when something like this happens. The issue quickly becomes too polarized. It becomes a Hindu versus Muslim sort of an issue. When we're talking about style guidelines, where, you know, the
so whose
HR
fault
policies
is
should
that?
come in.
Whose fault is that? Did I do the guidelines? Did I institutionalize religious discrimination as a part of the cultural code? So if a company chooses to do this, then they should be prepared that if this comes out, it will lead to religious polarization. Obviously, you mean to say Hindus do not have the right to protest? Only Muslims do? Is that what you're saying?
The CEO,
Are you saying that Karnataka
should be,
protests were
the
okay
CEO should have
because
been
it
a
was
little more
minority
sensitive about
protesting,
this.
and that the Hindu majority does not have a right to protest, that we should just all bend over backwards and say, yes, Lenskart, fine, we will stop wearing bindis. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying any of that, ma'am. I'm not saying any of that.
Yes, you are. You're talking about polarization, right? You are basically saying
I'm
that
talking about the-
polarization
I'm
is
talking
bad.
about the potential
Now,
risks of
polarization is
polarizing.
a risk. Yes, please hear me out. Polarization is a risk that Lenskart has taken. It is Lenskart who is polarized. It is Lenskart who has been discriminatory. It is Lenskart who has clearly said that
Yeah.
one religion's rights are above another religion, and that Muslims have a right to wear a hijab, Sikhs have a right to wear a turban, but Hindus do not have the right to wear a bindi or a tilak or a kalawa in the workplace. That, to me, sir, is blatantly discriminatory against the majority religion in a country where both the employees
Okay,
and
Mr. Vaidya, let me
customers
ask you this.
are
Let
a
me ask you this. We
majority.
heard you.
It's as
We
simple
heard
as
you.
that.
We heard you. We understood. We understood. We heard you. I'm trying to understand at what point does the clarification by Piyush Bansal become acceptable? The protest has been registered. The issue is already out in the open. We understand that. Has the trust completely been broken? Or Piyush Bansal's clarification, at what time does it become acceptable? I'm just trying to understand. I'm
First
asking
of all,
questions
okay,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
If I were Piyush Bansal, and if this was my company,
Yeah.
and even if I did not know that this thing has happened, this has happened due to somebody's oversight, the first thing I would have done is said that the buck stops with me as the CEO. And I would have said, I unconditionally apologize for hurting the sentiments of the majority community. Yes, we messed up. There has to be accountability. Where was the accountability in Mr. Bansal's statement? He did not even accept in his first statement that it was wrong. He just hemmed and hawed. It was a statement drafted by a third-rate lawyer. He needs to hire better lawyers. He did not, there was not one word of apology, not one word of accountability, not one word of acceptance that this was wrong. We were wrong in giving out such a grooming policy, and that henceforth such a thing will not happen. If he had made a clear statement like that, the issue wouldn't have snowballed. But the point is, he just did a very legal, garbled explanation,
Okay.
which basically said setting context. He did not need to set the context. What he needed to give was a frank, clean, and concise apology, saying that this was wrong, and it was wrong on every possible criteria.
All right, all right. Before we let you go, Mr. Vaidya, my final question to you. What according to you, you've already given us a little bit of a blueprint of what this should be, but what according to you should a fair and culturally sensitive workplace policy in our country, unity and diversity is a motto that we have at the National Cadet Corps as well. What should that look like? And at the heart of this, I'm again asking you, is this about, and again trying to understand, nobody is asking anybody to not register their protest. Everybody is allowed to, put forth their protest. I'm simply asking, is this about religion? Does this become about dignity? Does this become about equal treatment in public spaces? Or is it a convergence of it all? Because this is, needless to say, quite a sensitive issue.
It is about the convergence of all. Hindi is a Hindu woman's cultural identity. A Kalawa is a Hindu person's religious choice. Sindoor is a Hindu woman's cultural identity. So if you
right.
are fine in saying that hijab is cultural identity, then you have no right to say that bindi is not cultural identity. And who decides this? Who decides what makes good grooming and what makes bad grooming? You please tell me. Who decides that bindi is bad grooming? Who decides Kalawa is bad grooming? Who decides that Sindoor is bad grooming? Is it body odor? Are they chewing gutka? Is it the same thing as that? So this whole grooming guide itself is really ridiculous when it impinges on a person's religious freedom. So obviously there'll be reactions. Secondly, I ask you, you are a corporate company. You are selling eyewear. Make good eyewear and sell it. That is it. That is all you need to do.
Yep.
You
I think
do
they do a
not
pretty good
have
job of
any
it.
business
Last
of
year's quarter four
imposing-
numbers say that they made massive profits for themselves, but I get what you're saying
I'm
as
sure
well.
they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did. But this was before this. If you ask me, I am never going to visit Lenskart ever again. I am never going to buy anything from Lenskart ever again. A company
Okay,
that disrespects my identity, a company that disrespects my religion and my religious symbol is not worth buying from. It is
Okay.
as simple
All right.
as that.
We heard you.
I make
Many
the
thanks,
choice as an individual customer. It is up to the people to do what they want to. But they made my No Bindi No Business campaign a huge success, and you know that huge brands were forced to recall their campaigns.
Well, so
because of this one
I mean, of
campaign.
course,
so
you know,
it will probably work here.
on
also.
the
I
lighter
don't know.
note, then Mr. Vaidya, I think a thanks to Mr. Bansal is also in order on that particular front. But many thanks for taking out the time and speaking to us here on News 9. Shefali Vaidya, author and activist.